NFL draft is on Thursday, and today on Off and On the Clock, we're bringing back a little game we did last year at this time. We are going to predict the landing spots for all of the top rookies, all the guys you've been drafting in various underdog contests the past few months, and then we'll settle the score next week, see who did the best. So where's Ashton, Jeanty going, Omarion, Hampton? We'll get through all the quarterbacks all today on Off and On the Clock with Pete, John, and Nez. Let's do it. I might have buried the lead there. Back on Off and On the Clock, it is Nez himself. I know you popped up on a few other streams, but your triumphant return to OOTC.
Yeah, it's been like 6 weeks, I think, maybe longer since I've been on this specific show. So yeah, man, I've been. It's long overdue. Very much looking forward to being back full time. It's been busy over here in the Nez house, but yeah, I'm excited for this one. This is always a fun show.
Yeah, and Off and On the Clock does have a pretty strict 6-week paternity policy. We were worried you were going to start butting up against it, so glad we didn't have to involve HR here. John, how are you doing down there?
I'm doing well, my friend. I'm doing well. Yeah, this is an exciting part of the calendar right now. NFL draft this week, BBM season creeping up on us here, and then a whole bunch of playoff stuff pushed in between. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know. It was last week. I squeezed in on Friday afternoon a few more dance teams. I was wanting to get in a few of those. Unfortunately, didn't get into the hockey streets, but man, there was so much going on the Underdog app. Obviously, you guys are juggling baseball. And yeah, and then we're going to be off to the races a week from now. There will be people who will already be 20 BBMs deep at this point, if not more.
Crazy,
like that's what we're looking at.
Well, who tweeted out the other day that there was 3 finals teams drafted on day one of last year's BBM? Donovan,
yeah,
we did that out. Oh, that's so cool. I mean, that got my juices going. I was like, "Oh, CLV, here we go."
I know, and that's kind of the whole thing too. It's like pretty much everyone agrees there's pros to getting in some early draft. You know, the one thing I kind of think is interesting is like last year we didn't have, you know, it was 2 years ago. I remember like when Corain and I did a draft on opening night, there was the Sam Laporta was like an 18th round pick and he did like move up pretty fast. But last year, like the guys like Jayden Daniels, Brock Bowers, Bucky Irving, all the guys that ended up being like stone cold league winners, they're like ADPs like inched up, but like you never got shut out of getting Jayden Daniels or Brock Bowers last year. If you wanted to have them in it wasn't like, holy shit, 5 rounds. Like I can't. So it is interesting to know, like, will we get any like truly mispriced ADPs? Like, holy shit, you want to be in here right away? Or is it going to be kind of the stuff where like, hey, the big board ADP is pretty efficient. We're probably not going to see anyone mispriced massively right out of the gate.
I think kind of leaning the latter, because I think we've gotten so much smarter as a community. Because the other one that came to mind for me there in that conversation, Pete, was Puka. Like Puka was a guy who like didn't move at all and then just got like late in the season or end of season draft steam and then was a league winner. Like I think Puka in this life cycle might have been a little different with like big board season and that sort of stuff. I think our ability to evaluate prospects and like year-round content goes a long way in that.
Right, because like a good example to that would be what's happened with Kyle Williams, right? Where no one was talking about him 2 months ago, and now he's like this huge riser, and you can't even get him in a draft unless you're taking him like 20 picks ahead of ADP. Whereas like that might not have happened. Like you would have gotten a thing where Kyle Williams ADP in the big board would have always been above 200, and then BBM opens and say he's like a 2nd round pick, and it's like, okay, now he's going in the early hundreds or whatever, and it's like, okay, he just jumped 100 picks. Like now he's moved up to 150. That gap that he can reasonably jump to just keeps getting smaller and smarter because the draft community is so sharp and on top of that stuff.
I did not know who Kyle Williams was.
Really? Yeah.
I gotta pick and choose my draft battles here, and yeah, that's one that I was not aware of. So I kind of like that I have like no preemptive bias into going into the BBM season, where like, you know, maybe there's people still stuck on like, I can't pick 100 for Kyle Williams because, you know, even though it doesn't matter, but like, you know, just being stuck on that CLV aspect.
Well, that's the thing for the people who were worried about, I always go on a rant on this on Best Ball Breakfast. People are like, people got Travis Hunter at 170 and now he's going blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to redo that again, but I will say the little board 2 is your contest because there's no Travis Hunter at 170. If you're worried about that, go fire off your 50 entries into the LB2 before it locks on Thursday.
The aren't you worried stuff kills me because like the aren't you worried, we do that every single day with a baseball player. We do it every single day with a basketball player, and seldom do they matter, let alone when you throw in the wrench of an entire season 9 months from now, that CLV in that one lineup that happens to make the finals. Like, get out of here.
I swear it's just there's a vacuum of discourse that needs to be filled, and that is one of the most convenient things to suck up that energy of just needing to talk about something new.
Yeah, that's so true. Actually, when you guys were talking about Kyle Williams there, shout out Jacob Sanderson, who told me about Kyle Williams last year at the Scott Fishbowl live stuff. He was like, dude, you gotta watch these. Yeah, he's like, you gotta watch these Washington State kids. There's these 2 Washington State guys in Devi Dino leagues, and he was like, Kyle Williams is one of them. Yeah,
well, I don't know. Devi bros are so
sick.
So nasty.
Safer behind the in the green room. That's insane stuff.
Yeah.
Karain has this theory about like the Kyle Williams phenomenon and him like becoming super trendy late in the draft process. And, Chris Sims kind of kicked it off. He put him on in like a graphic of his top 5 wide receivers in the class. And everyone's like, just learned a name. Who the fuck is Kyle Williams? Yeah. And then all the film bros like circled back to like go watch Kyle Williams in depth in a way where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of wide receivers in this class. Film analysis takes a long time. And Karain's theory was just like, people hadn't gotten to him yet. They're like, I haven't watched the tape on him to get excited about him. And then Chris Sims like reminded everybody. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, there actually is some interesting traits here. And then just rocket ship.
I think you just kind of solved content creation next year. Instead of working your way down
go
wide
backwards.
Receivers, treat it like double Jeopardy, and just like randomly pick a wide receiver and then you can be first to the punch.
Yeah, why do you think Davis was trying to get Lan Larison on his podcast? He's like, I'll just start with the last ranked running back in the class, and that'll be the skeleton key.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, that's Davis's business model right there.
Until he got big time by Lan Larison. He's dodging him. Doesn't Lan know that Davis is in his hustle era, and you are trying to deprive him of landing on this year's Dylan Laube? It is an interesting thing how much, and people are kind of debating about that. There was a conversation in the Ship Chasing Discord this morning too about like the odds in the betting markets for this draft stuff and how the markets aren't super liquid. There's not a ton of action you can get down, and those odds are basically just set by these books as an aggregate of the publicly available like mock draft data, which we know mock draft data is like half hunches, half inside sources, like all of this stuff. And like, I think Arif Hassan had a Substack post about it today too, of like the concept of like forecasting versus evaluating and how mock drafts kind of like distort and intermingle that in such a weird way. It's like, it is hard to know, like, where is their signal? Where is their noise?
Yeah, no, especially when you get this deep into the process where now you have like real life meetups at the draft. There's going to be so many little like nuggets just dropped through this week that are all just smoke screen.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing too, at the end of like, I always hear this stuff and I'm like, still, if you are an organization at the end of the day and you wanted a player, it does not behoove you to leak or talk about wanting that player. Like none of that ever makes sense, where it's like, why would I want to put up a big billboard for the rest of the league you have to jump me if you want this guy? And that's why I still like the Shadur Sanders thing is so interesting to me because, his range of outcomes seems probably the widest of any round 1 prospect. And I'm still like, okay, you're not hearing anything good. And I'll hear people be like, anyone I talk to in New Orleans, like, no one ever mentions like Shadur Sanders. And I'm like, is that a bad thing? Because if I really wanted Shadur Sanders, I wouldn't be saying I want Shadur Sanders. So that's the thing with all of this too. I'm like, from a game theory standpoint, the reports don't actually confirm what you think they confirm. Like, why would a team reveal their hand?
Yeah, that's so true. And I think that's what makes our exercise kind of fun is it's like the melding of the two, right? Because we're not like necessarily ranking these guys as prospects in our mind. We're thinking what these teams are going to do to then where they go kind of thing. So it's like a melding of those two ideas.
I think teams do this just real quickly. I think teams do leak purposely sometimes to like see what people think, like, hey,
trial balloon it.
Yeah. And see what the reception is. And then if it's good or bad, then they'll like, oh, okay, let's back off on that. The Steelers do it kind of a lot recently. It's really strange. They've been like, they telegraphed the Najee pick, which is really strange way back when. And they've and people knew that Broderick Jones was on the radar. I don't know why they do that. I mean, I really don't. Maybe, they don't care that people don't think they're good picks. Those two specifically have not been great.
The other thing, like how a lot of that sausage gets made with the reporters and the NFL insiders, right, is there's an exchange of information. You are kind of giving them some information in return for, hey, I'll keep you in the loop on what these other teams are doing. So you would think there's a happy medium where it's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll give them my short list, but I'm not going to tell them the guy we're pounding the table for. The Steelers are interesting this year, Nez, because I feel like it's been popular to mock a running back or a quarterback to them. And then it sounds like all the local beats are just defensive line is kind of like what they're saying. So that's another one of those where it's like, who knows what they're going to do. And you can make the case they should be in the mix for a receiver too.
Yeah, I've seen them say that they're receiver needy. I don't love it, but like I do get it. Like you do kind of need 3 wide receivers, and especially someone with a different skill set than Pickens and DK have right now for that. Yeah, I think they go QB, but I hate the D line talk because like what are we doing? We're Mason Rudolph is QB1, dude.
Well, that's too it. The Giants are in such a weird spot, right? Where they need they need a quarterback bad. They need to get that offense going, and yet Abdul Carter is probably going to be the pick, which is like, yeah, he's one of the blue chips in this class, but like as far as positional needs, it's probably like the 8th most important thing they need right now.
Well, that's probably one of their number one positions of strength right now, right? So
right.
It's just kind of like, yeah, it's crazy. I think that makes for a very fun, exciting draft night because I think there's going to be a lot of movement. Like there's going to be some trades, there's going to be some up, down, this sort of thing. Because if the chalk plays out in the way in which basically every single mock draft on planet Earth is telling us with those first 3 picks, like after that, it's just like anyone's best guess. And we could have people moving back into the back end of the first round there for quarterback needs, for, falling running backs, for falling wide receivers, that sort of deal.
And that is like there was a quote from, who is it? The Bears GM, Ryan Poles. And there's been a few quotes today that everyone is gearing up for a lot of movement. Almost saying like more so than usual as far as draft day trades, which is kind of interesting because the other conventional wisdom has been because the draft is so flat, after Hunter and Carter come off the board, that it's hard to get anything of significance for moving back. So I don't know how to reconcile those two thoughts. Like everyone's like, here, we're going to trade a lot. And everyone's like, well, I view picks 5 through 25 the exact same. So I don't know who's going to want to budge.
I think it's just going to be a lot less of like best player available and just like, like take the guy that can just like, who just has the ability to be special at a position, and more so just like you can actually do more position of need stuff. And then maybe that kind of allows for cheaper trading because like now you get your guy like that you need type of deal.
Yeah. For sure. All right. So what we're going to do today, we did this game last year. There's no fancy scoring system to it. We're just going to go through all of the skill position players who are relevant in the NFL draft. And I am using ADP as kind of a guide for how relevant these players are. And we're each going to pick a team that we think they are going to land on, and it's pretty binary, right? We just give 0 points for a missed pick, 1 point for a correct pick. I think what we said last year is you can do the same team more than once. Like it would not be fun, but if you just want to keep saying Raiders for every running back, you'll get 1 point. That's not how I'm going to play the game. You should have. But I think this is going to be a trickier exercise than last year because of that uncertainty, because of how deep the running back class is, because of how many teams can use wide receivers or running backs right now. It really is kind of the Wild West. So maybe we have some galaxy brain logic to explain these away. Maybe we're just shooting from the hip, but I figure we can figure it out here as we go.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun because I have no idea where you guys are at on any of this stuff. And yeah, I'm just throwing darts.
What do you guys think about this? I think last time we might have like pre-selected our picks, since there is like maybe a little bit of an advantage. Like if two people go with the same, what if we kind of each pick, we do a different order? So like the first one I go, then John, then Nez, then the next one John goes first. Then so we're just kind of rotating who's picking first and picking last, and then trusting that will smooth out any little game theory edge by the end.
Yeah, let's do it. Last year I think we did the everyone type it in at once, and then I was always like
oh
5
my
seconds
God,
slower than everybody tried to color format. So I think
That's
it's better
right.
to do it this way.
That's right. Yes, I will try to get the color formatting going here as well. And so yeah, I think last year we did it kind of by position. The positions are kind of like so lopsided this year as far as where they fall that I would want to make sure that like if we did it by position and then like didn't get to Tyler Warren or something, I'm like, why don't we just go in order of ADP, which will be kind of the most interesting anyways. And I think it helps in that these are most likely the guys to go earlier too. So if we're wanting to kind of plot out which teams we want to use, that might help.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny how different ADP this year versus last year was juxtaposed to like the top end prospects because of the wild card that is Hunter, because of, the non-consensus at W or wide receiver 1 and or 2 if you treat Hunter as a wide receiver, right? Like last year it was a little more cut and dry with like the first, upper echelon of the real draft also lined up with ADP.
Yep. Yeah, and the decision we all have in this game is like how creative you want to get versus you want to just play the chalk, because there are a lot of chalk landing spots, at least for these round 1 guys. I think where this exercise gets fun is that almost every mock is just a round 1 mock. So there's chalk round 1 spots, but then it's the fucking Wild West as far as where these round 2 and round 3 guys are going to go. Does someone want the honors on the first Jeanty pick, or do you want me to kick it off?
You go first, because then we can keep the order that's listed on the screen there. So simplicity's sake.
Yes. Okay. I will and yeah, I will try not to chew up your guys' sound bites if you go in a different direction. Obviously, Raiders are probably the chalk spot, although now after that Schefter report, Jeanty's plus 135 to go to the Jags. I'm not going to say either the Raiders or the Jags. I'm going to say all of this posturing for like Jeanty going 4, 5, 6 is a little overblown. I'll say that he falls to the Bears at 10. I feel very confident that the Bears would not pass on Jeanty if he was there. I think they're in the mix for a running back in rounds 1 or 2. And I just think push comes to shove, these GMs are going to wise up and be like, we can't take a running back right here. And then he'll fall into the Bears' lap. So that's my pick.
These GMs are seeking the GM. It's so sick that we all reacted the same way, because that was all our like cheeky scroll. Like we're not, nobody was coming out here to try and say Raiders. We were all trying to scroll the F down to like where it could be. Okay, I'm going to go 1 pick ahead of Bears. I really like the Bears shout because I think Ben Johnson hates DeAndre Swift, and he's dealt with it before. I think if he falls to the Saints, it doesn't make it past the Saints there. I think the Saints can wait on quarterback. I don't know. They have 1,000 positions to address, but I think they need something to get their fan base excited here. And I think if he falls to 9, the Saints will just snap him up. But I think the Bears are more realistic.
Yeah, and again, there's no rules that we can't double up. It's obviously you don't want to seem like you're, but it's going to happen, I'm sure. So don't hesitate to double up if that's what you had. But Nez could get like the easy, just play the chalk here and let us fancy boy our ways out of a point.
Yeah, I think I am. I think I'm going to take my chalk here and go Raiders. It's just too obvious to me that the Raiders are the pick here. They need an offensive identity bad right now. I mean, I love Jacoby Myers. I love Brock Bowers. Getting Jeanty here and then being able to still get a pretty decent wide receiver in the following rounds for them, I just think makes a ton of sense. I love the Bears call. I want Jeanty on the Bears so badly, but I think Raiders are just no doubt gonna make that pick.
The chat's killing me right now. Saints is an insane choice. Jeanty's going to the Jags. Nice 0 for 3 start, boys. They're just all over it.
I will say, I do think Jeanty is the most fun round one domino. Because I do think there's a really wide range of where he could go. I also think the implications, there's even rumors that the Broncos are trying to trade up into the top 10 to maybe get him. So there's a lot of teams. Like, my guess, the calculus that these guys are doing is like, all right, if we're spending a round one pick on a running back, we want him to have massive, massive upside. Like, he absolutely has to be, and the Broncos are like, do we want to like grab a running back at 20, or is it worth just moving up and knowing we're getting a superstar? So yeah, I think despite my theory that he slides to 10, I do think a lot of teams would be interesting in trying to get Jeanty at what they perceive a value.
If he goes to any one of these three spots here, I think we'd all agree that like Bears is kind of like most fun. Fantasy outlook, that sort of thing. If he goes to any of these three spots, does he fall out of the first round in BBM?
I think Saints he would, because there were already some slight concerns about his pass catching, not his ability, but just because they didn't use him that way his final year. And obviously with Kamara there, who wouldn't just go away, I think there might be some like, all right, Genty's getting the goal line work, still explosive. Like, yeah, he's going to be really, really good, but Kamara's going to come in on third downs, is going to still have a role. So I think these other two, he's locked and loaded first round. Saints, what? Maybe he's early second round kind of pick.
Saints was such a dumb pick.
John, I was considering it when I already want to like go fancy with all of my picks. So
yeah,
it's just going to happen.
It's one of FPS fancy
here. Picks. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what would be nice is if our game, and we're not going to do this, but you could get equity on Saints or pick 9, because I think like pick 9, if you wanted to jump the Bears to get Jeanty, you could see a team trading up to the Saints to get him. So you maybe would have an additional out there, but it's got to be team fit.
Okay.
John,
right.
Why don't you go first, and we'll round robin. So then for Tet, Nez will have first pick, so forth.
Okay. Yeah, this one, I think it's back end round one, day one guy here in Hampton. I know they might have some PTSD from previous North Carolina running backs here, with Javonte Williams there, but I think the Broncos go ahead and take him at 20.
Yeah, and that has been a very popular spot. It's basically the worst kept secret that the Broncos are like, we want a running back early. So yeah, that I think is a safe, smart choice. How are you going to play it, Nez?
I'm going to go and say that the Bears go ahead and take him at 10. I think that they just get so happy-go-lucky and really want that star running back, and they see the gap between this pick and the next pick that they have and the talent that will fly off the board. I think we're going to see a ton of running backs go in this draft, and I think they go and get their guy. I think you're going to see Hampton go here. Maybe they take a step back a little bit, but I think at any rate, Hampton ends up on the Bears, and they just continue to shock us with in a derogatory sense.
Yeah, I think those are really smart, just because those are two of the teams that have not been shy about saying they want a running back. I'm basically debating if I want to double down on Broncos or how fancy I want to get here. I think I'm going to get fancy. I'm going to say that Hampton still goes round 1, but kind of slides past where everyone's expecting. I'm going to say that the Commanders stop the slide at 29. I think they would say like, holy cow, like this is a guy was expected to go top 20. We want to continue to just amass weaponry around Jayden Daniels. And we got some guys in the building, but we didn't have any true kind of difference makers, guys we could fully rely on. I think that would be kind of an interesting fit and like a sneaky team who would, I think is going to be in the market for a running back in round 1 through 3 as is. Maybe this would give them pause. So yeah, I'm getting fancy play syndrome with this, but we're just going to have some fun with it.
No, I like that one, Pete, because as you alluded to, they're definitely in play for running back in general. And I think the best way for them to take one at that pick at 29, I don't think they would pull up one of the other guys. I think it would have to be a fall. If it's not Hampton there, I think they address it in round 2 or round 3, and they go like defensive line or something like that in that spot instead. So I think the one way you could go fancy play syndrome, Commanders go running back in the first, is if it is a Hampton fall. So I think it's a pretty fun little double bubble there.
Yeah, and it's like the other one, if he gets past the Broncos, we already kind of talked about it, like the Steelers, I just think they would go, if they're going to go luxury pick, I think they would go quarterback first. And then the Chargers are kind of interesting because we still have the Harbaugh stuff, just like run the shit out of the ball. Harbaugh's like, he's a 2-pick value right now, sliding here. But it's like, they just signed Najee. It seems like it'd be a little bit more kind of redundant as far as the skill sets too, with Hampton kind of being an early down guy. Not saying he can't catch passes, but it's just like, that seems harder to see. And then you look at the other teams and I'm like, Vikings, Packers, Texans, Rams, Ravens, Lions. Like, I don't think those teams are spending a first round pick. All right, Tet, let's move to Nez. Let's move to Tet here. ADP of 52.1 has been a little bit of a slider over the past month with some concerns about his draft stock. Where do you want to project Tet, who along with Jeanty has been one of the kind of all over the places as far as where people mock him to go?
Yeah, I think I'm going back to Tet Mania whenever we thought that he was going to be just like a superstar in the middle of his college career or senior or whatever season he was last year. I've got him go to the Jags. I think they really do need a wide receiver 2 there to complement Brian Thomas Jr. They've got Trevor Lawrence. I think with the new coach there, Liam, they're going to want some weapons there for Trevor. And I think Tet's really good. I can understand people being objective and like having, the pros and cons with Tet. I think he's challenging Travis Hunter for wide receiver 1 in the class. I think he goes to the Jags. I'm being fun.
That I would be so stoked if just for fantasy purposes, like Tet to the Jags at 5, and also kind of thumbing the nose at like, hey, this isn't a great wide receiver class. Like if you get Hunter as a wide receiver at 2 and in Tet to the Jags, I mean, when's the last time that even, I guess like last year we had Marvin and Neighbors, we had like the Julio Jones, AJ Green year. I mean, that would be sick to get both those guys that high. I'm going to do, I don't even know if this is just chalk or not, because you see Golden to the Cowboys so much. I still think when push comes to shove, when the Cowboys are on the clock at 12, if both those guys are there, I think they're taking Tet over Golden despite the hometown connection. So I'm going to go with Cowboys here for my selection. I see the times where people say he could slide into the mid-20s. I'm just not buying it. Like, I think the Cowboys are a surprise team. Come and get him in the middle teens, early teens, and he doesn't slide much further than that.
That's a fun pick. I got the Cowboys coming up soon.
That's where I was going to go with Cowboys too. But
okay,
let's go full John scroll F down, crazy gal brain here. Miami. He passes Golden goes to the Cowboys. Golden goes to the Cowboys. Miami sitting there right behind. They're like, Tyreek's out of here. We're replacing him before we make the trade. We're replacing him, and then Tyreek's on the block. Tyreek gets traded second night of the draft.
Wow.
That's awesome.
The Dolphins are such a sneaky team who could use a wide receiver. That checks like the boxes of the range I think he would go as well. And to just say like, we now have Tyreek Hill insurance, like you're crazy. Come play ball, like stop being such a nutcase. And if you walk away, like Tet and Jaylen Waddle is still a pretty sick, 1-2 punch.
Yep.
That's
it's Galbrain. It's Galbrain. But
is it me on the clock now we're back to me with Henderson. And so part of the reason I did the fancy play with Omarion Hampton is because I think my bold prediction, I wrote this up in Fantasy Life. I think Henderson is going to flip Hampton in the draft. And I think the Broncos prefer Henderson to Omarion Hampton. I think if they're going to pull the trigger on a first round talent, Sean Payton wants his joker. This is the guy that drafted Alvin Kamara. I think he views Henderson as a guy who can do a lot of the Kamara stuff. And then he'll say, maybe Estime takes a step up. Maybe we grab a bruiser back later in the draft. But I want kind of the upside ceiling of what Henderson brings to the table to kind of be the next piece to unlock this offense. So I'll go Henderson sneaks into round 1 there to the Broncos at 20.
I can't fight that. That's a fun one. That seems like a really good fit. Great fit, patriots.com right there.
That'd be awesome. We're all waiting for Sean Payton to get his true RB1. Didn't happen last year with he had a million different running backs to cycle through. Not one came through for him. So Henderson to the Broncos would get steamy in a hurry.
It's so fun. I did this exercise looking at because I was trying to figure out the best landing spots for running backs, and I was looking at where the first running back goes off the board in underdog drafts for all of the teams. And the Broncos are dead last. The first running back that gets selected is Audric Estime at pick 236. You want to talk about the best landing spot. Just hilarious that a Broncos running back isn't selected until then.
That's crazy. So obviously I'm playing a GPP right now with these previous selections. And this list is not going to age well without the audio context adjacent to said thing. I am slightly different camp than Nez, where he's pulling up some of these running backs and Bears and that sort of thing. I think this is a running back fall class, and only 2, maybe 3 in the first round. And then the other guys are kind of like everyone's playing, weighted out kind of thing. So I think Henderson slides to the second round, and the Raiders pass on Jeanty in the first go round, and then they get that Chip Kelly plus Henderson reunited. They still get their RB1, but they do it on day 2.
And that's a fun thing for a lot of those teams, right? Like the Patriots, I'm sure, are kind of considering that. They pick at 38. The Bears pick at 39. And I wonder they're all kind of trying to do those 2v2s of like, could we get a Henderson? Could we get a Judkins, whoever their flavor is, at the top of the second round? I like that angle there. What about you, Nez?
Yeah, my answer. I think it's a fun one. Cowboys for TreVeyon. I really think no matter where he goes, we're going to be pretty excited. It would be. We say this with a lot of guys. A lot of running backs in these classes, and then they end up going to third string on the Jets. I think that this class is a little different. To me, this is one of the most talented running back classes we've had in a while. So I think no matter where a guy like Henderson goes, he's the guy, and I could see that being Dallas for sure.
Man, if the Cowboys land in this hypothetical for you, obviously you get points no matter what. But are you thinking they trade back? They take him at 12. He falls to them in the second round. What are you thinking?
I could see a trade back for sure. 12 would be pretty spicy. That would be spicy. But
Gibbs to the Lions in that range was spicy at the time as well.
Yeah,
that's true.
Dude, where does
Cowboys?
If they took him at 12, where does Henderson open up in BBM?
Oh boy, second round.
I
think he'd open in the third, but it would be on a pretty quick path.
Josh
to
Jacobs,
a second round.
Josh Jacobs or Henderson?
Well, it depends what kind of individual you are. We know what the ship chasers would be doing. Yeah.
Nez's current draft right now, if the Raiders, Bears, Jags, and Cowboys all took those guys in the first 12 picks, it'd be like an ESPN home league back in the day, like 3 running backs in the first 12.
Hey man, it's that kind of draft. It's flat out. I love it. Get fun.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I know. This is always what we dream about. Just like every skill position player going as early as possible. All right, John, this is where we find out how much of a GPP bro you are, because the markets have this as all but a lock here. But where do you want to slot Travis Hunter?
Okay, we just got to go chalk here. I don't think it's anything other than the Browns.
Yeah. And if it's not the Browns, then it means it's the Giants. I think the Giants would sprint to the podium to take him. But yeah, it's interesting how much this has firmed up in really kind of the past, I don't know, week and a half. You can't really find anyone who doesn't think it's Travis Hunter there. Nez, do you have any other dissenting opinions?
Should I get fun? Should I have some fun?
I'd love for you to have fun.
What if the Browns and the Patriots flip picks? Patriots move up to get Travis Hunter. They need offensive firepower bad. Plus, he can play a little cornerback. And then the Browns take a quarterback at their pick. Let's go Patriots for Travis Hunter.
Love it.
How about that for your great fit Patriots model?
Great fit.
I want 2 points if this hits, though. If we can agree with that, I want 2 points if this hits.
All right, we'll put. How about this? Throughout this exercise,
I get 3 for everyone.
We'll let each one of us gets a chance to appeal to the panel for a 2-pointer based on creativity.
Thank you.
You go with that, John?
Yes. Then I would like to push it to the panel to appeal my Saints Jeanty for the 2 pointer.
Sure.
You can win the whole fucking contest, John. How about that?
I'm debating whether I want to appeal to the panel on my command. I think I'm going to stick with it. I'll get fancy somewhere else and appeal for a 2-pointer. I unfortunately do not have the stones or creativity as Nez, so I'll play it safe with Travis Hunter to the Browns, and it sounds like we're getting pretty good confirmation he's going to be majority wide receiver in that capacity as well. Obviously, he's going to insist on playing some defense, but all systems go here for Travis Hunter. Let's see who is now first. Is it?
I think this one's me, right?
Yes, it's you. Yeah, Quinshon Judkins here, ADP of 71.6. Not expected to be a round 1 guy. Have not seen him mocked anywhere in round 1, but definitely expected to go pretty early in round 2. What do you got, Nez?
This one I think is a little chalky. I got Broncos here.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I think the Broncos take their guy. I think Judkins is really, really exciting as a player, and I think we could all get excited about that if Judkins lands to the Broncos. I don't think they would have to take him first round here. I'll go ahead and buck the trend of fantasy football drafting in the first round of the real NFL draft here. But Judkins to the Broncos, I think, would make everybody excited.
Yeah. I could certainly see that. It's up to me now. Kind of looking, I'm trying to more find like what are the fits in the early second round. I'm gonna go with the Giants here. I think he kind of complements, Tyrone Tracy pretty well. I think, not getting Travis Hunter in this scenario, they're looking for ways to improve the offense. They're kind of throwing a lot against the wall at quarterback so far, like really solidifying the running game. I think would be a priority for them. I haven't heard anything specifically about whether they actually like Judkins. I could just see that fit on paper making sense. So we'll do Giants grabbing him in early round 2.
Looks good.
This is John, where do you like him? Yeah.
Well, Judkins is a tough one because I think it really hinges upon where the other guys fall, because I don't think he'll go higher than like RB4 off the board. So, I don't think anybody's going to flip, those other 3 over him. So, I think if the other ones slide to the back end of the first, you could slide him to, mid-second, and someone could get the a value, in quotations, on him there. I think Bears at 39 makes a lot of sense. I didn't have the Hampton or Jeanty with the Bears there. So, they fill the void with that. They still got money on the books for Swift, even if Ben Johnson doesn't like him. So, maybe they spend a little less capital and they get, someone who they deem, kind of in that tier, but not quite there in the second round.
Yeah, I could see that. And if I were maybe thinking about it harder, I'd maybe use my Raiders bullet here as well. I could see if they don't go Jeanty there. But yeah, I think these are all, He's an interesting one, I do think, as far as how teams, view him, as far as is he special enough to take that early, or does he start to fall closer to that kind of next wave of running back prospects?
Kind of similar to J.K. Dobbins when he came out. You know, like same school, same guy who like flashed in like the playoffs, but wasn't like a full-fledged bell cow guy. And then there was 2 backs coming out at the same time, and it was like, where do we think he's going to end up kind of deal. I also like the Raiders one here, as you're alluding to, for that Chip Kelly connection as well. So if they don't go with Henderson, you know, there's some.
All right, I think it's back to me for Golden here with the first pick. Obviously, I'm not going to slot him to the Cowboys because I was doing Tet there, but I still feel pretty strongly that he's going to have top 20 capital. And I think the Seahawks are a really sneaky bet to add him. I think he fits kind of perfectly with what they're kind of wanting to do. They need some speed alongside JSN and Cup. And I think Golden could kind of be their replacement to the Tyler Lockett profile. And I think they're also looking at Darnold and they know that they have to surround him with weapons. Like Darnold succeeded in the Minnesota system because there were so many weapons. I don't think Cup at this point in JSN like are enough to make him fully successful. I think investing a first round pick here would kind of be that last, all right, we gave it everything we got as we kind of middle this rebuild / being competitive. Let's get Matthew Golden in the mix here.
Good one. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense from a profile standpoint.
All right, John, where do you want to slot Matthew Golden?
Yeah, I am currently running the S words on the side right now. And in my S words, Tet, like, you know, he doesn't fall to the Cowboys all that frequently. And in some iterations of the S words, the Cowboys, in fact, pass on Tet as well. So Cowboys looking really good for that Texas to Texas, selling some jerseys, Golden on the back. Yeah, I mean, that's just a very marketable name too. Jerry Jones is all in on selling Golden jerseys here of the Cowboys.
Yeah, this is definitely a popular one there. Nez, are you going to go chalk Cowboys or get creative here?
No, I had Seahawks with you, Pete. I thought that
nice.
Yeah, that this is a pick that they keep doing weird things when it comes to building their roster. I think this is one they can't pass up on. I think they absolutely need to draft Golden here. He just complements Cup and JSN too well, I think.
And you also get the Seahawks, I think, you know, you get into a spot. I don't think the Bucs would draft a wide receiver, but Broncos, Steelers, Chargers, Packers, like you're looking at a bunch of teams there that would probably be interested in a field stretcher like him. So I think the Seahawks know if they want to get him, they gotta pull the trigger there. All right, let's go now to Kaleb Johnson, a guy who's still kind of expected to hold on to round 2 draft capital, but has fallen a bit in the process just because of his combine performance. Would not be shocked, though, to see like Kaleb Johnson flip Judkins. You know, if a team's just like, no, we still like Kaleb Johnson. So a wide range of potential options there. John, where do you want to slot the Iowa Buckeye here?
This one's tough for me because I want to mock a second round running back to the Steelers when they don't take one in the first, but they don't have a second round pick. And like, this would be like a classic, like Steelers pass and then they get it kind of thing. I think I'm going to go day 2 Commanders. Commanders don't go Hampton in the first, but they address it in the end of second round there with, in this iteration, Kaleb Johnson. But I think there's a probably 2 or 3 names you could throw in there to Commanders in the end of the second.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Commanders pick 29 in the second round. Definitely don't mind that. Where you want to put Kaleb Johnson, Nez?
I've got Kaleb Johnson to the Chiefs.
Ooh, first mention
I think
the
Chiefs take a running back here, and they kind of shore up this position that's been such a problem for them for so long.
Yeah, they got to add somebody. Another one of those. When I did the write up for fantasy life, put it as one of those dream fit spots too, right? Like how excited would we all be getting for fantasy, like a round 2 Kaleb Johnson? I mean, where does he end up? I mean, he's kind of expensive now relative to the uncertainty, 80.5, certainly a lot higher than that.
Yeah. I don't think this is that crazy. No, I think this would be a very, very fun pick. Yeah, I could definitely see it.
All right. Man, yeah, there are so many teams in round 2 that I think could be in the market for a guy like him. I'm going to go ahead and use my Cowboys running back bullet here. Okay. I think they kind of, they go Tet in round 1. Last year, they just completely ignored the position in the draft. I think they kind of learned from that mistake. You grab Tet and you say, all right, now we get a running back. We already got Dak. We got CD. Like, okay, this offense is now fully ready to cook if we get a decent running back in here. We'll say that the Cowboys grab Kaleb Johnson and they kind of view him as a guy who can do a little bit of everything for them as a lead back.
Cool.
All right.
Sorry, Pete. A lot of overlap in team needs here whether teams push up in the first round or whether they, catch quote unquote value. We're still, the same pocket of teams being used over and over again for these skill position guys.
I know I'm looking at, because on Fantasy Life, I did an article a few weeks ago looking at the landing spots and tiering them. And so in the dream landing spots, I put Broncos, Raiders, Cowboys, Chiefs. We've obviously hit on all of those. And then in the next tier, I called it near perfect. We've hit on Bears. We haven't done Steelers yet, but I did Steelers, Patriots, and Browns as part of the near perfect tier. And we've hit on some of the next tier below, which I called fake committee, which was Commanders, Jags, Giants, and Saints. Basically saying like people might be worried about a committee, but like a good running back will take that over probably. So yeah, still plenty of landing spots to play with that running back here.
I love how we scrolled all the way to grouping 3, like just so on brand that we just skipped over group 2. We're like, that's too chalky. Let's get to group 3 here.
Well, in a perfect fit, like the Chiefs are the perfect spot, right? Like the Chiefs aren't selecting a running back highly, but they're almost a lock to select one in round 2 through 4. And wherever that is, like the fantasy community is gonna be like, all right, you're the lead back. It's not Pacheco, it's not Hunt. Like we'll draft you accordingly.
Mine's coming, and I think mine's a little more exciting than Kaleb Johnson.
Okay, all right. Whose pick is this one? We're on Emeka.
Yours. Back to you.
Is it?
Or did I do? Or maybe Nez?
I think it's Nez.
I'll take this pick. Absolutely. Yeah. Let me think. I got Raiders here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think the Raiders are definitely in the market for a wide receiver. No one is saying otherwise. But yeah, I think the Raiders make this pick here. I could see them any of these next few guys. I got Raiders here. I know people are really excited about Emeka, so I think this would be pretty cool.
Trey Tucker, erase R.
So you don't think? Well, the interesting thing is, I would say he's more duplicative to like Jacoby than he would be Trey Tucker.
Yeah, possession oriented.
Be in possession, but man, that would give the amount of weapons Geno would have in that case would be pretty sick.
Let's load him up, man. Let's load him up. Geno can play. Geno can play. You got to free that man.
The evolution of Seahawks doubles is so fun. We're just going to be playing Raiders doubles all season long in the VR.
Raider triples. You're throwing Bowers in there. Hey, quads.
Data be damned. I'm running out triples this year.
Anything to make Bowers a little cheaper, I would definitely be in favor of. All right. Egbuka, he has been flirting, with the round 1, round 2 capital. I did see one report that I bought that like the Texans wouldn't let him slide past them. And to me, I know they brought in Christian Kirk in free agency, but like this has been a team ever since getting Stroud where they've just continued to try to surround him. Obviously, the Diggs experiment didn't work. Tank Dell gets hurt. I think they just want to keep throwing weapons at him. And Christian Kirk, I think, is fine, and Nico's a superstar, but I still think they can use a really strong third there. And this is a team that already was familiar with Robert Woods, who conveniently is a popular comp for Egbuka as well. I think they pull the trigger on him at 25. I'm going to go with the Texans.
I like that one, Pete, but he doesn't make it to them. He does not make it to them, and that's why they can't pull the trigger. And that's why I think me and you might have these next two picks flip-flopped in our Bro Science mock here. I have him going to the Packers. The Packers openly discussing how they need to address the WR1 position, that sort of thing. I know he's more of the possession style wide receiver, but you got some outside burners there, right? You know, you got field stretchers on that roster already. Maybe a little overlap with Jayden Reed's skill set, but I think this is more possession oriented than like flash in the pan pre-snap motion stuff like Jayden Reed. So I'm going Packers on this one at 23, right? 22, 23? Yeah. 23.
Yeah, and I think the Packers definitely, I mean, that was one of the first talking points of this offseason. Josh Jacobs going and saying, we need a wide receiver one, which is funny is like, there aren't that many wide receiver ones in this class, and Egbuka would be, you know, more of a complementary piece. But yeah, they don't really have a guy like him right now. So feels like they're going to add a guy, if not in round 1, in round 2. So I don't mind that dart throw there at all. Luther Burden, another guy kind of all over the map here. I'm kind of looking at the top of round 2. There's a few different ways I kind of want to go here. I'm going to say in the same vein, like all these teams now are operating the same blueprint. You get CJ Stroud, surround him with talent. You get Kaleb Williams, you surround him with talent. You draft Cam Ward, you got to get him some help beyond Calvin Ridley. NWI is gone. There's just not much there. I think they say at the top, let's get one of these guys who has a huge ceiling. Might not work, but let's just get a guy in this offense. He can learn from Calvin Ridley. The Titans pull the trigger here on Luther Burden.
Nice.
That's really fun. I like that call a lot. That would make a lot of sense. Hopefully the Titans can do something that makes sense. I would be excited about Luther Burden in that spot for sure.
Yeah. Cam Ward Burden stacks. Don't mind if I do.
That'd be hot. Where are you going to put him, John?
I think he gets a little more capital than that. I think he's a end of day one guy here. And I think this is Texans for me. I think Texans are going to address the wide receiver position in the first round. And I think both these guys are viable for them. I just think Emeka goes first and then Burden goes next. And there's a mini little wide receiver run here to end day one or back into day one.
I really hope you're right. I feel like every draft, especially when it's like a slightly weaker wide receiver class, it's just like, please, let's get a run on wide receivers in the 20s. Get a run on wide receivers. Schefter doesn't think it's happening, but all of these teams need wide receiver help. So it makes sense.
Dare to scroll, Shefty. Dare to scroll, buddy.
What do you think, Nez? Where does
I got kind of somewhat of a fun landing spot. There's a lot of bodies here, but I think Burden could separate. Chargers. I think he goes to LA here.
That's fun.
If he manages to fall to the Chargers, I think I would like that. And I think he's a bit of a different skill set than QJ and Mike Williams, who we're looking to have to beat out there to see the field.
Cool. He would be a great fit, especially because the Chargers, I think, have been looking at the tight ends as well, but it now seems like Loveland and Warren might not even make it to them. And if they're trying to figure out a weapon, they really need someone else alongside Ladd and QJ there. Burden would be a unique kind of fit for them. All right. I think who kicked off? Did I do Burden to the Titans? So yeah, I think John, you get to do the Tyler Warren, our first tight end, ADP of 101.5. Definitely a guy with a couple of chalk spots in mocks. Where's the scroll down king going with this one?
This is I don't know if you guys have noticed. I'm telling a story with my lineup here. I'm telling a story here, and my Jeanty stuff, leaves the Bears with an available pick here. And the Bears got their running back in round 2. So that's because they took who they deemed to be tight end 1 in this class. The Penn State kid finds his way to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, Bears. And so are you having them taking Warren at 10 then?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And I feel like the Warren stuff like just keeps pushing up. Colts were really popular before, then it was Warren, and now recently people are starting to mock him to the Jets at 7 too. So Warren kind of all over the place there in the top 15. Where do you fall, Nez?
I think sorry, just before you say Nez, I think one little reason for that is the Loveland health stuff that's creeping up right now. And I think people are now, they viewed those two as like 1A and 1B for a long time, and now it's kind of like separating a little bit in certain people's mocks if they're buying the health narrative.
Yeah. Nez, what do you think of it? Because one thing I've been thinking about where it's like all of the times I see tight end mock to the Bears, I'm like, what a Cole Kmet eraser. Like I know Cole Kmet isn't like a top 5 guy. He's not Trey McBride. He's not Brock Bowers, but he is a solid, serviceable tight end that no one wants to acknowledge in these mock drafts.
Oh, you're going to get me fired up, Pete. You're going to get me fired up. I think they paid Cole Kmet. The same GM that paid Cole Kmet is still there. I don't think he's just going to go ahead and just take a Warren pick, but I like where John's John's imagination there. I got Warren to the Jets, man.
Okay, yeah, I'm buying that.
Yeah, angle. I'm just like, I think Warren is so good. I think he's really, really good. And the Jets just brought in Justin Fields. We saw a Justin Fields connection, in Chicago. A little bit of a Fields. Freiermuth connection there. Warren would be the best tight end he's ever had. The Jets need some playmakers as well on offense. I think that this would be a really great fit for the Jets and Fields, and you would probably see Warren push up past pick 100. I think if he goes to the Jets, just based on where do the targets go, assuming they don't make another move at wide receiver. You're looking at Garrett Wilson and Tyler Warren probably 1 and 2 in targets there.
Yeah. It seems pricey to me, but the Jets definitely need some more help there outside of Garrett Wilson in the running game. So it makes sense to me why they're considering it. It also to me feels kind of like a mulligan on passing on Brock Bowers last year, where they're probably like, why the fuck did we do that again? We could have just had Brock Bowers. Because you guys went Bears Jets, I will just play the chalk here. I'll play Colts, see if I can scoop up an easy point. I would be really bummed about that for fantasy, like a lot of people, and I'm also not convinced why the Colts need a tight end the way their offense is constructed, but I'm just going to trust every fucking mock draft that puts Tyler Ward to the Colts and select him here.
It's kind of funny. The chat's commenting on it too. It's just like the Tyler Warren is like a just plugged in there guy in that tier where it's like he's talented enough to be here, and this team kind of needs a tight end. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's just kind of how every mock draft looks, where it's like, well, we can't let him fall. He feels like the falling knife in the daily draft ADP lens right now. It's like, well, I can't give up the GM by letting him fall to 15.
I know. Help me with my color coding. How should I handle this Giants Colts situation?
Ooh, can we go? Well, the Giants have a brighter blue than the Patriots. Make the Giants maybe a red text.
Yeah.
Okay.
Red text. Yeah.
Okay. Like that. And then I do have the Patriots as a slightly different blue than the Giants, but then we have double. Is that all right? Okay.
I like that. Yeah. I think that works. Nobody's confused. I don't think.
No. All right, I think Nez gets first pick on Skattebo here. ADP of 106.5. Seems like a lock for day 2. Maybe sneaks into round 2. At worst, a round 3 pick. Where is the folk hero that is Cam Skattebo going in the Nez mock? So
this is not something that I think, is a complimentary pick, but I do think he goes to the Chargers.
Okay.
This to me just screams Harbaugh.
Wow.
And he ends up going with Najee.
Dude, one thing that I've been thinking about that's so funny is I feel like whatever running back the Chargers inevitably draft, we're just going to run back the Jaylen Warren Najee dynamic. Like it's just going to be the exact same thing. Yeah. And it's going to be like, everyone's going to want to draft the rookie, and then Najee just ain't going to go away. It's going to be beautiful. I like some of these 1-2 punches we have with teams. So Nez has Burden and Cam to the Chargers. I have Caleb Johnson and Tet to the Cowboys. And then which one did you do, John? I thought you had a double up here for a team. Did you or no? You still hold strong?
No, I'm holding strong right now. I'm
Okay.
saving one. I'm saving one.
All right, there you go. I am going to use a team that has been selected once for Skattebo. I'm going to say the Chiefs. I can picture this already. Cam Skattebo on the Chiefs. The Chiefs pick at 31 at the end of the second round there. Have constantly been kind of trying to find a running back solution. I think they'd like that Cam can do a little bit of everything. He can catch some balls. He can do the short area stuff. Could just slide right in there. And then just think of the off the field stuff. Like Cam Skattebo is going to be at a Taylor Swift concert with like Travis Kelce. He's going to become part of this entourage. Like Taylor will probably write a song about him. It just seems like it's happening.
I am 100% agreeance because when Nez took the Caleb Johnson Chiefs one, I was saving it for this one too, Pete. Cam Skattebo, Chiefs, and there's 2 outs to it. They think so highly of him that they take him at the back end of the first round, or everybody else thinks so lowly of him that he's a day 2, but round 3 guy that then they can get him at the back end of round 2. So I think this one can break right for them in 2 separate instances. And they just, they go for their CEH all over again, but in a different form.
Does he go like pick 60 if he goes to the Chiefs?
I hope so.
In BBM?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the floor for a Chiefs running back taken in the first couple of rounds is like pick 70. And he's probably going higher than that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Skattebo has a little bit of name brand value too. So that's true. It could even be crazier.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I have Colston Loveland here. Right. It's my pick. I believe so. Back to me here. Yeah, because I did Burden, and then you were Warren to Bears, and then Nez did Cam to the Chargers. I am going to do Loveland to the Chargers. I think that kind of nails the sweet spot of his projected draft capital, round pick, 22. Chargers need weapons. Maybe they feel like they just missed out on Golden. They don't want to reach or pull up for Egbuka or Burden. They did sign Tyler Conklin in free agency, but I don't think it's enough to prevent them from adding a weapon here for Herbert, which they certainly need another piece there. And Loveland is kind of the move tight end there who can catch a lot of balls. I think would be a nice fit there. So I'll go Loveland to the Chargers.
Yeah, we can't double up again here, Pete. I had the exact same thing going there with this Chiefs Chargers on the back-to-back picks here, but we can't do it for the sake of the contest, the integrity in my draft room. When people zig, I'm always ready to zag. Let's go ahead and go the Kyle Pitts replacement.
Wow, first Falcon.
R.I.P. Spicy Margs here. You guys wanted me to zig and take Colts as the other tight end needy team. I double zigzagged on you guys, and RIP Kyle Pitts. It's Jover, my friend. Colston Loveland is coming to town.
Falcons, in this scenario, it's at pick 15.
Yep, in this scenario, Pete.
Well, you already used your appeal for 2-pointers. Man, can you imagine? I mean, no team loves spending early round 1 picks on skill position players more than the Atlanta Falcons. That is certainly a fact.
I had Chargers here as well, Pete, by the way.
Okay.
My third Charger selection here. But there's no rules. This is within the bylaws. I'm allowed to do this.
Yeah. This would be really funny if Tyler Warren goes to the Chargers and it just Nez is just trying to litter the board around it. I like that.
Hey, petition to have a -1 clause asterisk, a double asterisk -1 if a Charger does not go to any of these 3. -1, an additional
it's not
-0.
It's -1.
It's a -1.
Wow,
that's messed up. Save it for the markets.
Okay. Let's see here. We are now to, I believe this is Nez.
Me.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, my bad.
Because I would have gone Chargers on that last one.
Oh, you're right. All right. Jayden Higgins. John,
all right.
now
You
we're getting
guys,
into some of the fun stuff.
Yeah. You guys went Golden there. I think Seattle goes offensive line and then addresses it in the second round here. They get their golden, but they get a different iteration of him in the second round there in Jayden Higgins.
Nice. Yeah, definitely could see that kind of them saying, you know what, big bodied guy. Let's see if we can just kind of replace the DK Metcalf with Jayden Higgins here. Nez, you want me to do Chargers or you got something else?
I got Raiders here.
Okay.
So this is, I know I had Raiders for Emeka, but I've got Raiders here too. I think there's actually a chance they can take both these guys, but yeah, I think either one of these guys. I'm trying to bank some easy points here.
Nez, do you see what's happening, John? Because this just like the math doesn't math, but he's trying to beat us within the scoring. He's trying to outsmart us, is what he's doing, John.
This is a classic min cash Nez hedge board.
Yeah, min cash Nez.
Play the best plays, guys. Ever heard of it?
Hey, John, do you know that there are more divisions than just the AFC West?
Not familiar. Can I circle back on my Seahawks thing, because this was my super sharp analysis point about Seahawks passing on round one wide receiver is because they view it as slightly flatter, and they have 2 picks in the second round at the upper echelon there, so they could have one of those 2 picks to be spent on wide receiver. So I'm thinking day 2 wide receiver Seahawks, not day 1.
Okay, yeah, I think Jayden Higgins, it would be pretty stunning if he went in the first round, but does seem like a guy who could definitely go in the second round. I'm gonna do Jayden Higgins to the Panthers in round 2. Early on in like mock drafts, people were putting Tet to Carolina, which I think as a fit is like an awesome fit. Kind of similar to my theory for these teams really trying to give a young QB weapons. Carolina's tried, they did Mingo, they did Leggett, Thielen's holding steady. Maybe Leggett emerges, Coker, but it really is a flyer room. And if they're looking at what Bryce Young did last year, finally showing a pulse, showing some signs of life at the end of the season, you got to get them more weapons. They're just so young and probably one of the lesser talented wide receiver rooms in the league. If you really kind of added it up, I think they have to address it, and they take another stab at like a big, fast, volatile wide receiver prospect and see if they can hit on Jayden Higgins being the next Nico Collins.
I got a super spicy Panthers take. It is the exact same thesis as you, Pete, but they address it in a different way. And they go either the Tyreek Hill, the Jameson Williams, the Mark Andrews, or the Dallas Goedert trade route. And they address it. We're done playing whack-a-mole with all these rookies. We're clearly not getting them right in our evaluation process. Let's address it with a veteran that can be our number one, focal point of offense. Go about it that way.
Yeah, I could see that, and that is like definitely a rumor. And they could certainly use another tight end as much as I think Jatavian Sanders is intriguing. Okay, who's it back here to for Tootin?
I believe it's
that's you, Ness. Yeah, that's you.
Yeah.
Yes.
My Tootin selection is the Raiders. I got the Vikings for me.
I was terrified. I was like, this is awful TV.
Good. That was good.
No, I think he goes to the Vikings. I think this is a really good complementary back to what they've got going on with the Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones 1-2 punch here. This is sort of a pick for the future because who knows, how many years Jones has left, but also just a very dynamic player. So wouldn't like it for our BBM bags, but tune to the Vikings, I think would be fun.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those spots where it will appear kind of messy to people, but you'd probably get really cheap Tootin. Like you'd probably get like pick 160, like basically where Bucky was going last year is probably where you would get Tootin in that scenario. And I would be a pretty big buyer at those prices. I'm going to go for another landing spot that would make everyone lose their mind. The Niners do this shit every year. Tootin is exactly the kind of guy that they'll fall in love with very fast. And I do think his production gets a little underrated. Workhorse senior year or in his final year there at Virginia Tech. I think they say, hey, let's keep the cupboard, loaded. Just every year we get rid of Jordan Mason. Let's bring another guy in here. This one, we just all shrug our shoulders. And then you'd start to be like, well, couldn't it just be the Ricky Pearsall situation? Couldn't it be the Garendo situation where it's like all of a sudden there's opportunity and you're in one of the best offensive schemes? So there you go. We'd all hate it at first and then come to love Tootin on the Niners.
Pete, did you write about this and then I read it and then now I was thinking I had an original idea and you already had written this somewhere and that's why
I keep snaking all your picks here?
We're in lockstep with the Loveland, the Skattebo, and the Tootin stuff here. I like that. Okay, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna zig.
You could do Dolphins. Dolphins is like the same concept.
No, I'm telling a story here, Pete. Dolphins already addressed the running back position.
You're telling my story, and I'm trying to give you ideas because you're just telling mine. You want the rough draft to my story? It's the Dolphins.
I love it. Okay, I think doesn't Tootin just feel like the perfect complementary guy that we're going to be excited about wherever he goes, if he goes like day 3 or whatever, or sorry, second round 3 rather.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's 2 spots. I think there's 3. Browns, Bengals, and Packers all feel super fun. And I think I'm going to go Bengals. And I think people will hate it for the Chase Brown price tag for big board season. But I think if he's available there at the front end of the 3rd round, that's when the Bengals would feel finally comfortable spending on offensive capital, because I think they're going to address defense for the first 2 rounds. So if he's there, round 3 at the front end, I think Bengals would be a lot of fun.
Man, that would be so tricky for how to think about it. It would kind of fulfill the prophecy of like the Chase Brown situation feeling so much like the Kyron Blake Corum last year. And it's like, how do you because there are scenarios where Tootin just plays behind Chase Brown all year, just like red shirts. And there'd be stuff where it's like he comes on the field and forces like a 50-50 split. That would be that'd be pretty crazy. All right, who are we to now? Is it back to me? Yes. Okay, we're to Trey Harris, ADP of 138.2. Another guy expected to get day 2 capital. There's tons of spots. At this point, like it's just like any team you could justify adding another wide receiver. But I'll try to go with one that I wasn't able to fit into round 1. And John used it on Egbuka. I'll do the Packers taking Trey Harris. Josh Jacobs wants another wide receiver in this room. I think he kind of fit alongside what they're kind of doing there and potentially emerge, as their number 1 option down the stretch. So we'll go Trey Harris to the Packers.
Like it. In that analogy there, Pete, where do you think he goes like draft capital wise?
Yeah, so 138, and that's not too far from where like Dobbs goes.
Oh, sorry,
in drafts.
I meant real life NFL. Like what round do the Packers take him in?
I think that would probably have to be like the back end of the 2nd round. Like, so they pick at 54. I think he'd probably have to be using about that pick.
Okay. So Harris is cemented as like kind of day 2, like 2-3, round 2, 3.
I think Higgins and Harris will both go in round 2 is kind of what I'm banking on. And then kind of the Wild West after that, as far as we could get a surprise in round 2 or then a bunch going in round 3.
Okay.
Where do you want to slot Harris?
I think I like the ideas that you guys had earlier with some of those teams. I think I finally go ahead and take Chargers here. They go a little bit discounted, address the wide receiver position at a more palatable price tag.
Yeah, they pick right after the Packers in round 2. So that seems like a sweet spot. Nez, what do you like here?
Where do you get your ideas, John? Jeez. I got Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals are sneaky needy wide receiver. And maybe they don't wait this long, but I got Trey Harris to the Cardinals.
That's a smart shout in terms of a team that's sneaky needy.
Yeah. They, and another one too, where it's like, they just can't seem to get over the hump with Kyler. You get the McBride breakout, big hopes for Marv in year 2, but get that one extra piece that could really help unlock things there. All right. I believe we are to John with Dylan Sampson. This is where it starts to really open up. Obviously, we're going to hit on Cam Ward in a second, but otherwise we have all of these running backs who are kind of in this long tier, tons of teams who need them, can go a ton of directions here, John. So what's the maestro going to do?
Yeah, I think Browns, they do the Hunter thing and then they address quarterback potentially in round 2 or 3 there with like a back end kind of guy. And then, I think round 4-ish, Sampson front end. Round 4, maybe round 3, Browns address the running back position with no longer having Nick Chubb.
Yep. They definitely need to add someone alongside Jerome Ford, just mainly a matter of when, not if. What are you going to do, Nez?
Yeah, this is my Bengals pick. I think they go Sampson here. I think they just restructured, or I forget what they did with Zach Moss, but essentially brought Zach Moss back. I didn't see exactly what it was, but to me, it sort of seemed like, okay, there's some cold water on them taking, a high-profile running back here. I think Chase Brown showed enough, and that this is the Bengals pick. I believe Sampson's pretty young too, so this is sort of a pick for the future as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with kind of the same thought as John with the Browns circling back to getting their running back. The Patriots in round 1. Don't end up getting a skill position. They are awful at drafting wide receivers, but they say, hey, we got to get someone else in here to complement Ramondre and potentially take it over as well. So I will go the Patriots with no asterisk. And I haven't used my asterisk yet. I might have to circle back.
Yeah, come on, guys. You got it. Everybody's got one.
Okay, I will just use. Can I use it? I'll use it on the Commanders since that was kind of my most kind of off the board pick. Okay,
I'll allow it.
All right. So yeah, Patriots there, and we're probably going to be kind of like shuffling around teams now because they're, like we said, there's this handful of teams in rounds 3 and 4 who could certainly be pulling the trigger here. But now we get to do what I imagine will be the chalk of all chalk, unless anyone has in their heart of hearts to do Cam Ward to anyone other than the Titans.
I don't see it, especially after that whole thing where he was going off on his Twitch stream about the best running back and the best wide receiver. He's just going.
That was an amazing bit. Already doing the CD Carter, love my teammates bit before he's even there. So good. I don't know why I didn't say Denny, but yeah.
Yeah. So our first all consensus pick here, because even Nez cooked up a little spiciness for Travis Hunter. We did have a couple Colston Lovelands to the Chargers. John trying to copy me on every pick, but otherwise, our first consensus pick here. All right. It is it back to, or who's it to?
This is technically me since we just kind of skipped over Cam Ward.
Yeah, let's.
No, you eat that one. That's you eat that one, and now.
Let me be a thought leader here.
Nez has just gamed the system perfectly at every step of the way of this contest.
Come on, guys. I got Bills here for DJ Giddens. Kind of an interesting pick, I think, but something about their running back room tells me that they don't love it, and I could see them going Bills for Giddens. Yeah.
I could definitely see them in the mix there. Oh, sorry. I put that as John. My bad. There we go. Man, Giddens. I feel like I need to do some.
You went Bills. Bills.
Oh, I said Buffalo. Maybe that's
my bad. My bad. I thought you said. I thought. Perfect. All right. The Bills. All right. Let me get that. My bad. All right. Bills. So yeah, no, man, that would be another one because people love Giddens. And then if you had to deal with the Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, James Cook mess, that would, he'd be pretty cheap, I think, in that scenario. All right, let me think. I will do another scenario here that maybe people would find messy, but I still think they could be in the market for taking a running back. I'm going to do the Jags here. They kind of like ETN. They kind of like Bigsby, but now you have the new coaching staff. And I think they might like to get one of their own guys in the building here. Again, trying to build up some weapons around Lawrence. I'll do DJ Giddens to the Jags.
That's fun.
John, what do you got here for one of the interesting running back prospects?
I got to confirm who's got a round 5 pick here. I'm just trying to keep the story all in check. Let me see here.
What do you think? So we have done. Oh, go ahead. Make your pick.
No. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what do you think is the over-under? So we've done 19 picks when John's done here, and you just get 1 point for right picks. What do you think the line is for whoever has the most right? Is it like
after 19,
3.5 or 4.5? Yeah.
I was about to say 4.5. I think 4.5 because the Cam Ward freebie.
Yeah, Cam Ward's a freebie, and even then, getting 4 right feels so hard.
Yeah, it does. Okay. I like your Samson thought with Patriots. I think Patriots are a team that add. I think I'm just going to flip-flop with you, and I'm going to do Patriots here.
Well, it's funny you were going to do that because John and I are just fucking forming a little human centipede over here because I was going to do Browns for RJ Harvey, our next one that you used.
We're just
hey, we're getting to the bottom. We're getting to the bottom of the barrel here. All right.
True.
I will say it is kind of refreshing, right? Because there's no like chalk with any of these picks.
Yeah, my RJ Harvey one is Steelers finally address running back because they're not going into the year with just Jaylen Warren. So I think Steelers are going to be at play for, spoiler alert, quarterback. First or second round there. And then I think, they're going to spend later capital on the running back position despite their past tendencies.
Yep. That's a very good one as well. Nez, what do you want to do with RJ Harvey?
I'll say Patriots here. I haven't used them for a running back yet, and they're definitely going to take one. So I'll say Patriots here, and that I think that'd be a lot of fun because I think anyone that the Patriots take, we're all going to be pretty excited about. As just like a RBB or 1B to I'm totally blanking on Ramondre to Ramondre.
Stevenson.
So
yeah. All right, we can keep the pace going here. Whose turn is it for Devin Neal?
This would be yours.
Is it back to me?
No, you just went last. Nez.
Oh my God. Shit.
Yeah, you literally just picked. Right?
Yeah.
I'm tripping.
Yeah. All right, so it's you, Nez.
Okay. Devin Neal, let me pull up my sheet here and remind myself. I had Devin Neal to the Panthers.
Okay. Yeah,
just I think he wouldn't be too expensive, and I do think they do need an RB2 in this this season with the ACL injury to Brooks to complement Chuba. I know it's not one of their needs per se, but this is what I had in mind.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to John's round 1 idea without the asterisk. I'm gonna say Devin Neal to the Saints. I think if they wait on it, they're still gonna want to add someone. Like I just don't think they want to go into the season with just Kamara and Kendre Miller on the roster. John, what do you want to do here?
I think I want to go Texans here. Yeah, I think Texans are gonna spend one of the day 3 picks on running back, and why not Neal?
Yeah. I think that will be another spot that'll be really interesting for ADP, where obviously you're going to have the Joe Mixon roadblock, but we kind of saw hints of them wanting to ease up his workload and just not, they tried it with Cam Akers a little bit, but they just didn't have the guy who could kind of justify that. So that would certainly be interesting. All right, Nez, What do you want to do here with Jaylen? Or is it back to me now? Jaylen Knoll?
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah, I think because, you just did Panthers for Devin Neal. All right. I am going to go back to the Patriots. They have to keep taking stabs at wide receiver. I know they brought in Diggs. What's his face? Your good old UW boy, Jalen Polk, flopped last year. I think Jaylen Knoll is a guy that they would take a long, hard look at. They're probably in round 3. Pretty good route runner there. I think that would be interesting for the Patriots there in Drake May.
I echo all the same sentiments there, Pete, but for the Jaguars on maybe like that. I was gonna say 70, but that seems really high. Or it doesn't say really high, but it seems a little high. But yeah, I think Jaguars, because I haven't addressed a skill position with Jags yet, so this one fits nicely.
Yep. Nez, where's Jaylen Knoll going?
I think this is Texans. I think that they could use a burner, and I think he would be a very exciting pick for all of us if he ended up going to Houston with Stroud. I do think that they kind of oversupply at wide receiver, given the way that they've acted in the past.
Yep, for sure. Kyle Williams, the guy that Nez just learned about at the top of the show here, that John learned about from Jacob Sanderson at last year's Scott Fish Bowl. I think it's John.
Yeah, it is. Titans. I think this is the cheaper discount pair up with Cam Ward if they don't want to spend their first 2-round picks on skilled position players, that you can just have the break glass of in case of emergency Kyle Williams a little bit later.
Yep. I could see that. Nez, what do you want to do with Kyle Williams here?
I had Kyle Williams to the Rams.
Ooh.
For a wide receiver 3 there to pair with Puka and Devontae. Could be a fun little pairing if he ends up going there.
Yeah, I could certainly see that there. The Rams. Do I need to get a little darker shade of blue? Now we're getting there.
There we go.
Man, yeah, this one is all over the map. I could see a ton of teams kicking the tires on him. I'm gonna say the Jets. I didn't have them taking a tight end yet. I think they could certainly use some more weaponry there. Really nothing outside of Garrett Wilson. So I think Kyle Williams, kind of a guy that has a lot of tools right out of the gate, would be a good complement to Garrett Wilson there. All right, now we're getting to some of the fun stuff.
Man, I was saving a running back bullet here, but then I realized we cut it off before Ollie Gordon's ADP.
Jeez, John.
Oh man, I was saving him for a bonus 32 there at the bottom. Ollie Gordon's going to the Ravens. That's my big Ollie Gordon the third, Ravens. John's double asterisk at the bottom that he forgot to save.
We'll let everyone sneak in one little of their own if we want here. There you go. There's a Ravens.
There we go.
Whose turn is it for Shadur?
I went Titans first, so it's Nez's turn.
All right, Nez. Where's Shadur going?
Steelers. I need it.
I was going to do it too, man. I'm telling you on this. I think I was writing it up too, and Schefter had some stuff about it that like he thinks that the Steelers is kind of his floor, in that one of the points he made is a lot of these coaching staffs are worried like if it goes dicey, is everyone calling for Deon to come and take over and all this, but it's like Mike Tomlin is one of the few coaches that his standing is just so solidified that could kind of fend that off. And of all the teams, like you've heard like connections or people trying to kick the tires on free agency. Are you in the Kirk Cousins mix? Yada, yada. I mean, they've just been kind of eerily quiet. I feel like they're ready to just pick off whether it's Dart or whether it's Shadur. Like they want to get one of these guys.
Yeah, it would be a shame if they get sniped on both of them. I would, I'd be very upset. but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they end up with Shadur. I think there's enough smoke and uncertainty around his draft stock that he makes it there.
All right, John, what are you going to do to go full contrarian bro on us?
I'm giving myself 2 outs at this one, gentlemen. The team that has scouted him the most this offseason in the New York Football Giants. I'm giving myself 2 outs where he either it sticks with the story. It sticks. If you guys are paying attention, the story is still intact. the Giants one. He can either go in the first round because they get really excited and they're like, we can't pass up on this, and Abdul Carter becomes the guy who slides. Or more realistically, in my scenario here, is Sanders falls out of the first round and the Giants address it at the start of day 2.
Yes. I like it. That has been one of the connections that still feels strong. You know, the Browns, the Giants, if it isn't the Steelers, like a team moving up, you know, to kind of jump them and lock them up, I could definitely see. Let's get to some fun. We're now into the second wave of tight ends here. Harold Fannon Jr., a guy that the fantasy community is getting pretty excited about. ADP of 197.4. He's moved up ahead of, you know, guys like Mason Taylor and Aoyo. You know, lots of stuff. Dwayne's production or supermodel, extremely bullish on him. A lot of the film guys really like him. So a guy getting some buzz, pretty wide range, you know, as far as, you know, day 2, could he slide to round 4, stuff like that. But anyone, is it to me? I believe.
Yep, you're first. Yep.
Yeah. There were a couple spots that I was eyeing for this. The Rams had been rumored to kind of be interested in Colston Loveland. I think Harold Fannon could be kind of a nice consolation prize there. Get a tight end with a little bit of juice in that room, maybe have him develop a year behind Higbee or whatever. I could see Harold Fannon being kind of a project that McVay would be interested in taking on.
I like that one. I'm going with the EGSEALL. No one knows how to spell it. Eagles, baby. Eagles. Give me the Eagles.
Oh yeah, we haven't had the Eagles yet.
Yeah. Exercise. They shipped Dallas Goedert out of town, and they bring in the potential replacement here.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been, you know, potentially in the mix for Mason Taylor has been kind of a popular mock spot for them of late. Certainly could see that. What do you want to do, Nez, with the duck-footed king?
This is my chalk tight end spot. Colts here. I think Colts, this is where the Colts go at tight end.
Yep. If they don't get one of those top 2 guys, could certainly be in the mix. Let's see. John, you're on the clock with Jackson Dart.
Yeah. Start of day 2, Saints address the Derek Carr problem with Jackson Dart.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. I think I've even heard some of the beats there saying they are interested in Dart there. Could definitely see that. What do you want to do, Nez?
So I have a story as well. You know, if you guys remember, I said Travis Hunter goes to the Patriots. Browns love Jackson Dart. They're keeping it real close to the vest, and then he ends up in Cleveland.
Wow.
Okay.
That would be fun. I don't have a story, and I want to pull a Nez and take 2 cracks at it and get a point. Steelers. Double up, Shadur or Dart. Get on my level, boys. Get on my level.
Quad condom here. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we got.
Don't talk to me about quad condom, Mr. Raiders, Chargers, and 9 straight picks.
Those are 3 different positions.
Oh man, the PD point patter right there. That's what that was. That was.
Also, just check it into the chat, guy. Like, if you guys are trying to apply like logic and reason to the stories and everything we're doing, you are consuming this show in the wrong way.
No. Pitch. I'll fight you on this one. This is how they get both. Jeanty falls to 9. If you were listening to the story, you haven't been here the whole time. And then Saints in the second round get Dart. That's the story. It works.
There you go. No one ever said it had to be a coherent story, but it's more like John drunk after 19 little sodas after the hockey game. Yeah, the wobble
wobblies.
All right. So is it
Nez Daniel.
Nez
Yeah.
with Jaylen Milro, our another quarterback here.
Jaylen Milro, I have to the Saints.
Okay.
That checks out.
Yep. And
I
was
think
gonna
if he falls to the second round of the Saints, man, and I think he might. This is going to be a really, really fun pick. And man, given everything that we have about Carr here, Milro probably shoots up. I mean, Milro's going to shoot up, I think, no matter what, right? It's kind of silly that he goes 211 in the big board when I think no matter where he goes, he's probably going to shoot up in BBM. So
if he starts, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think there's just like super polarizing opinions on Milro right now. And he's been like a little bit of a late riser here because people think he could land a job where he starts. There's also a non-zero chance that he just like redshirt, like in quotations, all year one. Yeah.
I will stick with our kind of tight group of potential teams interested in these quarterbacks. And I'll say Milro to the Giants here. I've seen some buzz there as well. Any of these teams, right? If they pass on him with their first round pick, they're going to be looking at the Milro, the Dart, the Sanders to see who's there. So I have a feeling one of us will be collecting some points in this range. John, what do you want to do with Milro?
Milro's this is my big hot take here. Steelers take Milro in the first round. Okay. Milro to the Steelers as QB2 off the board. Yeah.
If I was really chicken shit, I would have done 3 straight Steelers and just truly, bank that. But I have some integrity. Yeah.
I like this idea. Like, doesn't Milro feel like if you just took Ross Wilson and you took Justin Fields, like, and you just put them together, you just get a little bit of each party of those, and it turns into Jaylen Milro?
Like I was like following you for a second.
You get like half of the Justin Fields mobility that they liked last year, and then you get a little bit of deep ball from Russ and a little bit of underneath accuracy, but with a bit of a sack problem, and you put them together, and here you go, Milro. You get 8 wins again, Tomlin. You bank the 8 wins and see if you can push up to 10.
There you go.
I hear you.
Whose turn is it for Mason Taylor?
John. No, John just
went. Not me. I was last that one. So Pete's turn.
Pete.
Yeah.
I'll do. This is the Eagles have been kind of a popular spot for Mason Taylor. It seems like Mason Taylor's game is more kind of like pro ready. Might not be as dynamic of a pass catcher as some of these other guys, but could come on the field, play right away. And obviously you kind of get a couple outs there as far as if they were to move Dallas Goedert, that would certainly put them in the position. And how many times do we see these teams who win the Super Bowl and they kind of come in and view that last pick as the luxury, type pick, even if Goddard hangs around, getting a little long in the tooth there. Let's get another tight end here to beef up our offense. So I'll go Mason Taylor to the Eagles.
That's a fun one. That's cool. I got 2 landing spots here. I think I'm going to go Chiefs, though. I think Chiefs see the writing on the wall with the next window of life without Travis Kelce. I think they need to address it for this season as well. Not as guys MF and Gray as we originally thought, because they bring in another tight end to that room.
There you go. What do you want to do with Mason Taylor, Nez?
I'm going to mock him to the Jags. Okay. And we get a little excited about Mason Taylor to the Jags, and we kind of copy paste Evan Ingram targets to Mason Taylor. Ooh. We get some Mason Taylor, Ben Sinnott level steam day one.
And all the Brenton Strange bros just down so bad and sad.
Horrendously. Horrendously.
No. All right, we're I probably could have left these last couple off, but we're just gonna see this through. Elijah Arroyo, the other kind of interesting tight end in this class. John, I believe it is you. Where's Elijah Arroyo gone?
This is where one of those oft mocked first round comes all the way back around in the 3rd round there, and Arroyo ends up with the Jets, Jets.
Yup. Nez, where do you want to slot Arroyo?
I'm gonna put Aoyo to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Noah Fant respecter here, long time, but they could use a weapon here, and Aoyo, I think, would make sense for the Seahawks.
I'm going to use
might-
the same kind of. Oh, what's that, John?
Sorry, I was just gonna say that probably makes Noah Fant a cut candidate then, right?
I wasn't thinking that far.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just curious. I was just throwing that out there because he's guaranteed a decent chunk. So
See ya.
yeah.
I'm going to use the same logic as John with the Jets and come back to the Colts. I did not do one of the other earlier tight ends to them, so I will say they're patient there, but still get a project in Aoyo. And the Mr. Irrelevant for our draft is going to be Tyler Shuck, kind of the last quarterback that maybe one of these QB needy teams in the game of musical chairs is left having to take Tyler Shuck. And I do not believe I've done Saints. Sorry, it's not me yet. It's or did I just go last on Colts? So who should, does that mean?
Yeah, you just
John?
went.
I think it's John.
It's John. It's John.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, it's me.
Yeah.
Quarterback needy teams, redshirt year, learning behind Joe Flacco, Cleveland Browns.
Yep. That's a good one there. Nez, where do you want to put him?
I'm going to go a team that may play this guy right now. There is no red shirting, a 30-year-old rookie in Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
So his biological clock's ticking. I'm going Colts. The Colts.
Colts. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, they're panicking, man. They need someone that can step up and play right now. A veteran presence in that locker room.
I forgot he was as old as Brandon Wheaton. That's a good call, dude.
That's what makes your Browns pick so poetic.
They just get worse at the quarterback position.
Browns, I think, is a good call. If the Browns just feel like the team that will get caught with their pants down trying to figure out quarterback. I'll do Saints, kind of their consolation prize there. All right. There you have it. Like we said, it's going to either be 0 points, not 9. It will either be 0 or 1. And next week, guys, on the show, at the top of the show, I don't know, we'll probably be drafting, but we will check in on this. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to win this highly scientific prediction contest. Although, Nez, should we each do one? We get one bonus one that the other people don't get to weigh in on. John wanted Ollie Gordon to the Ravens. Do you have one you want to do?
I'm not that deep in the player pool to have another player in mind.
Okay.
Let's say Ollie Gordon to the Steelers.
All right, Ollie Gordon. All right, then we can all do a team here. We'll just do Ollie Gordon. I don't think I did. No, I did do. Who was one of my other spots that I didn't get around to? I didn't do a running back to the Steelers, so I will. I'll go ahead and toss Ollie Gordon to the Steelers. Him being the new Najee would be perfect. Where he's good enough to where he never comes off the field, but he's slow enough to just piss off the fantasy community constantly.
Exactly.
That's about right. All right, guys, let people know what programming you got going this week. By the way, do either of you guys want to hop on for a slot? Nez, do you want to hop on ship chasing for Steelers pick, or are you busy on
Thursday? Yeah. Pencil me in. Yeah, I think I can make that work.
John, do you want to hop on for a pick?
I'll do my best. We'll talk in the DMs, but I think I can make that work.
Okay.
We're actually leaving on Friday for a trip, so I gotta figure some stuff out. But yeah.
Understandable. Let's see. But yeah, let the people know what do you guys got going this week on the Bros channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got a really fun one that we're not going to fully divulge just yet. That it's going to be taking place behind closed doors, and then we're going to put it out for everyone about just an underdog State of the Union with a very special guest. So that'll be a lot of fun for us, and just talk about the recommitment to draft games right now from Underdog. So looking forward to doing that one. And then the rest of the week here, we'll have our full shows. We'll have our full shows doing, playoff everything right now and breaking down some baseball slates, that sort of deal. And then, and then I'm actually gone next week. I'm away. So Nez will be holding down the fort. We're kind of trading off here for a little bit, but I'll be doing some traveling for the upcoming week there. So gonna miss the start of BBM, which is kind of sad, to be honest.
Wow.
Tough look.
Yeah, very tough look for your boy. But we'll be back in there, guns blazing soon enough.
Wow. Are you revealing where you're going, or is this?
Oh, we're going to Alaska. We're going to
nice.
Alaska with Nikki's family. There's 6 of us going. Well, 7 of us with the baby now. So there's gonna be 7 of us, and we're doing a cruise up to Alaska because Nikki's dad can't fly right now and really wanted to do like a family oriented trip. So best thing to do is Vancouver to Alaska cruise. So I haven't done a cruise in 15 years or something like that. So I'm not sure if I'm a cruise guy yet, but we'll find out.
That sounds sweet. One of my friends and his wife were in Alaska doing the Northern Lights, and I just saw their pictures and it looked insane.
Bucket list trip for sure.
Yeah. Anything else for you, Nez? Any programming notes?
No. Everything John said holds true. I'm just trying to get on the right side of the winning side. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. A cash line, right side of the cash line in the baseball streets. Getting my ass handed to me, drafting with my hand behind my back, basically, almost literally with the newborn. But I'm trying to lock in. I'm back at work, and I'm trying to commit and get back into the winning side of things. But
does anyone win these days other than Car Park? I swear to God, every time I see a screenshot or a post, it's just Car Park.
It's truly incredible, man. He's so good right now. Like, it's crazy. Chris has been really good as well. Sam Olsen's been really well. I shout out to Respooked, who I saw in the chat earlier, and who else was up there? Maybe the Wood and Alan, just a guy last night. They all duped each other for. I took one look at NBA slate yesterday, and I was like, this is gonna be a dupe train for sure. But it was only 6 deep, so they still got a nice payout last night. So yeah, shout out to them.
Good stuff. Like I said, we'll have the ship chasing draft stream 8 p.m. Thursday night. We'll be live for the entirety of round 1. Bunch of guests swinging by. Always a great time. I'll have lulls on Thursday night. I also posted yesterday a video on the Deposit Kingdom channel. Going to get back to doing some of those draft style streams. Did one final pre-draft one with Karain. Obviously we'll be doing best ball breakfast with him once BBM starts next week, but wanted to sneak in one draft with him. So if you guys have to knock some dust off of your Deposit Kingdom sub, head over there and check that out. Otherwise we'll be back next week. Nez and I will figure out what we want to do for Off and On the Clock then, but appreciate you guys all hanging out. Keep an eye out for that special show from Nez and John about the state of the draft games. Heard a little sneak peek and very excited for that. And enjoy the draft week, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.